Hello, everyone. My name is Gabriela Flores.
Hi, everyone. It's Michela, Arlia.
And we are the leaders of the Vanguard newspaper, which is a campus newspaper here at Brooklyn College. And you're listening to Vanguardian Voices, our WBCR show. And we're excited because this is technically our last winter session episode. So, applause, sound effects, people. Let's get it. Anyway, so thank you for tuning in. And today we are actually going to be covering stories that we have ready for you all, and they'll be hitting the stands tomorrow. We are finally returning to print.
Whoop, whoop. More sound effects. We just make our own live.
Yes. So it's an exciting time, and this is going to be our first spring issue. And we're going to have 11 more issues left for this spring, and hopefully more stories. And if you're ever interested, students, faculty, staff, listening, make sure that if you have anything, if something's of concern to you, or you want something fun on your end, maybe you know someone who you think should be covered, let us know. We're always available via email at thebcvanguard@gmail.com.
All right. So let's get into a sneak preview of the first issue of the semester. Once again, you can catch that. It'll be available online and also on the stands in most of the buildings on campus. So the title of our first issue is Web's New Start. Can catch some clever wordplay with fonts and colors on that cover tomorrow. So the title of the issue, Web's New Start, and our first story, which reflects that title, is called A Look into the Web Clubs and Their Spring Plans. We're going to save that for later because that was a typo on my end, so that's cool.
That's all right.
But anyway, a story written by yours truly. It was a pretty interesting story, so we covered this in one of our other winter episodes briefly, where a new mural was painted on the second floor of the web building in the film department in December as a culmination project for a new art class. So the mural was painted by, led by adjunct professor and MFA alum Julia Kakuza, and her class that started up this fall and is actually going to be a continuation project every fall, where a new department will be chosen to collaborate with the art department, and just as an effort to beautify the campus. So that's pretty fun, and you can check that mural out if you're ever in the web building. What was really fun anecdote was it's very colorful, but also very nice to contrast all of the red in that building. So lots of purples, lots of greens, everything but red. So that was very nice.
It's a standout.
It
It's
is
meant to be a standout. Yeah, and for our next story, Michela mentioned it. We actually featured two clubs that are housed in the West End building, or Web. And our features editor, Serene Star, she interviewed some club leaders, as so did I. And we basically chatted with them on, their reflections of the past fall semester, their turnout for different events that they hosted, and of course, what they have in store for the spring. And for those who are listening and are interested in getting involved with student clubs, the web has a lot of different clubs. There's different niches and different spaces for people to connect. Off the top of my head, there's Dominican Student Movement, there's Women of Color, there's an anime club. Yes, an anime club for all the fellow geeks out there. Yes. There's different things there, and you're likely to find something that you enjoy in the community that you enjoy. And of course, there's always clubs scattered around campus, so that's not the only location you can hit up.
And moving on into another story that we're covering for the first spring issue, USG is setting out to welcome students back with a food truck. So as you may know, tomorrow is the start of our spring semester. And to kick off the semester, and really as more of a celebration of more things being in person and everything like that, USG is hosting a food truck on campus for the BC community to enjoy. And you can catch the food truck on the West Quad from 12:30 to 2 p.m. this Thursday, January 26th, where you can find fried Oreos, churros, and hot cocoa. That sounds really fun.
It does.
And music. There's always music at the USG events.
And merch.
Yes.
They're always repping their merch.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And next we have an opinion from our new opinions editor, Shay Stevenson. He discusses the irony of today's anti-capitalist movies. And of course, some of you probably seen flyers or promotional stuff of different movies such as The Menu with Anna, I think it's Anna Taylor-Joy.
Sure.
Sure.
I didn't watch it, so
yeah.
Whatever you say.
The talented actress from Queen's Gambit, basically, and The Glass Onion. So there's these different movies that are coming onto our radar for audiences to enjoy. And Shay discusses just the irony of it all this commentary on anti-capitalist and anti-capitalist notions in these films, but also not really seeing the point of the issue, right? And that point is something that you can read more on the Vanguard tomorrow. Don't want to spoil it. So, but that's a very interesting one, and if you are a movie fanatic, definitely check that out.
And in our sports section, this issue, we have a piece by Damian Ovale entitled "The Broadcast Team Brings Bulldogs to All." This is a pretty interesting piece covering the broadcast team on campus that broadcasts most of the games for the BC community. And so it's a nice feature piece in the sports section that you can catch, and how the broadcast team is kind of a little unknown, but they're making waves and trying to push through and make themselves more known this semester, especially after the pandemic kind of shut them down due to the absence of games on campus. So you can catch that in our sports section as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you're trying to navigate through campus this spring, there are different offices that are open. There are different resources that are available still online. So definitely check that out. One of the main things that I've noticed is that some offices, like for instance, financial aid, they're not really in person. So that's important to note. So make sure that you contact the right people. And of course, you can check out the Vanguard to get a whole list and rundown of who to contact and any availability of open offices on campus.
Also, an important note that I keep seeing everyone stress. So for all the BC students listening, the COVID-19 testing center has been moved out of the student center and will now be housed in the basement of Boylan Hall. So for those in the random testing program or selected, and also those who just need to go get tested for any reason, you can check that out in a new location starting today.
Yeah. So just to clarify, it is no longer in the student center. So if you go there and you're like, what, hello, like where are people?
Yeah, the pool tables will be back.
The pool tables will be back, people. Gaming, yes.
Yep.
So we see some exciting faces. By some, I just mean one, but
just Luis.
Just Luis. Yeah, but that counts.
If anyone needs Luis, he'll be playing pool.
Yes, in the student center. But again, the testing center is in Boylan, the basement. All right. Well, that's a little preview of what we have in store for tomorrow, and we're coming back to print again. So again, if you are interested in sending us a pitch, sending us a story, sending us someone who you think it might be interesting to cover, maybe a Brooklyn College artist, a Brooklyn College alum, whoever it may be, please pitch it to us. We're always here, available. And hopefully in our office, you can check out our office too in Roosevelt 118.
And also for those who wish to write or think it sounds neat, we are also open to writers. If you want to try it out, or if writing has been your thing for a while, come in, find us, talk to us. We would be happy to have you on board.
Yeah, don't be shy. And we usually meet on Thursdays at 12:30, again in our office. That's 12:30 on Thursdays in Roosevelt 118. And so we figured, to give our listeners a little preview of what we have in store, we might as well go into some stories that we might be covering.
Yes, because the Vanguard never sleeps, and we are always working on the next issue.
Yep.
So some stories that are kind of in the works for next issue that will be next Wednesday. Will involve some transfer student enrollment at BC, the Governor Hochul's proposal to raise tuition in CUNY and SUNY campuses. Also, we kind of touched upon that in a previous winter episode. and an obituary on Dr. Betty Lee Soong, who was the founder of the Asian American Studies at City College, and she was 98 years old at the time of her passing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, just another reminder for all those folks who need little extra reminders, such as myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I felt that.
That's okay.
Wow. Oh, yeah. Anyway, so just a reminder, classes for the spring are starting tomorrow, Wednesday, January 25. So be sure to get prepared, get some sleep, because
That's funny. Sleep. Just a thought.
Honest, yeah.
Yeah.
A brutal, honest thought. Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't catch much sleep at the Vanguard.
You give really great sleep advice for people who don't sleep much.
Yeah. Honestly. I should take my own advice, you know?
Harder to take it than to give it.
Yeah. Honestly. But anyway, so it's exciting times, I guess, and especially for us. We're always...
Yeah. And for some of us who it's our last semester.
Our last semester, yeah.
A little bittersweet.
Bittersweet, but, you know.
But needed.
Needed. I'm honestly excited. You know, Michela and I, we were mentioning that we really want to make sure that we leave with a bang. And that's not to, like, say we're going to, we see some concerned looks. That's not to say we're going to go and, another concern.
Please clarify.
To clarify, for clarification, we mean to make sure that we cover stories that desperately need to be covered, stories that are important to be covered. And, you know, doing that investigation, asking those tough questions, making the extra effort and going, you know, the extra mile with our reporting, because it's now or never. And I think that that's kind of the mindset that we're having for this spring.
Yeah. Hence all the pitches, so...
Hence all the pitches. So
yes. Come to us with some interesting stuff, y'all.
Yeah. And we'll make sure we cover it well and we contextualize it well and we deliver it to the people with facts.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So we are going to go into a little break. But before we leave you, just to let you know, we have here Emmad, who is our digital editor.
Hey, it's great to be here, guys. Thank you for inviting me.
Yes. So we're going to be chatting with Emmad in a few, and we'll catch you soon. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. And as we mentioned before, we are here with Emmad Kashmiri, our digital editor here at the Vanguard.
Hey, yeah, it's great to be here. Yeah.
Anyway, so I guess the first question that we always ask everyone, how are you doing, Emmad?
I'm doing well. Yeah, nowadays I've been trying to fix up my sleep schedule a little bit, because school's starting, and I doubt it's gonna stay consistent.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we'll see. I'm just I'm trying my best to, make sure it's consistent right now. That's like my priority.
And that's a good priority to have, honestly.
Yeah.
Brace yourself for the spring. Anyway.
Honestly, yeah.
Yeah. So, we did want to ask you, just to let the readers, and not the readers, sorry, wrong medium, just to let the listeners know, how and when did you get started at the Vanguard?
I got started around the beginning of the fall semester of 2021, I believe. Yeah, it is 2021. And the way I started, or how I found out about the Vanguard, was because of a friend of mine, right? He got an email because he graduated from Brooklyn College. And they were basically asking him if he knows any people that would be willing to sign up for the digital editor position. And I was like, I was curious about it. I was like, okay, what do you do over there? And he was like, I don't know much, but this is what was written in the email. So I'm like, okay, cool. That sounds interesting. So, yeah, I told him to get back to the person that emailed him. Mm-hmm. And eventually that led to a Zoom call with you.
Yep. And I sent that email. So thank you, universe, for making me send that email.
Nice.
Anyway, but yeah.
Yeah, and so could you just kind of go through what your responsibilities are at the Vanguard in your role and what a typical week is like for you as we put together each issue?
Okay, so I'm the digital editor of the Brooklyn College Vanguard, and I'm supposed to like schedule articles and make sure that they're all uploaded on time, and to make sure that like the website's actually like actively displaying everything, and basically making sure that like the website's good.
Yeah, and that it's accessible to readers, by Wednesday morning.
Yeah.
So that's always in the middle of the night, making sure that it's there by the morning when you open your eyes. But yeah, and so you are a computer science major, and I was just curious, like, what piqued your interest in that field?
I guess it's because I've always been around computers my whole life. Like, at first it started, like, playing video games, but then I'm like, okay, how does this work? And, yeah, one thing led to another, and, yeah. I just had a general interest until high school, and in high school there was a program, not really a program, but, like, this new field that opened up called the IT House. And basically it just gave you like a really, really like strong foundation to set up for college. And yeah, since I did really well in the IT house, I was like, all right, cool, let me take it a step further in college. And that's why I'm a computer science major.
Oh, that's awesome. And so are you a video game person or?
Yes.
For the gamers out there, share your favorite games.
My favorite games? Okay, so League of Legends. I don't play Minecraft as much anymore. I'm not gonna lie. It's one of those games where like I have a phase where I don't want to play it for like 6 months, then I play it for like a week, and then I never play it again. I see some people nodding in agreement. Some people being one.
It's always some people. Always means one.
Yeah.
And it always means Luis.
Yeah. Pretty much. Yeah. Basically multiplayer games. I really enjoy playing with my friends pretty much. And I do have single player games that I really like playing, but I'm very selective with them. One series that I'm very into is Nier. I wouldn't say it's unknown, but I wouldn't say it's known either. It's very niche, but I enjoy it.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Very cool.
We'll probably get near to it. That
wasn't your greatest.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Anyway.
It's okay. E for effort. So anyway, we also know you are something of a world traveler. So can you tell us about that and how many, places, how many countries you've been to, cities you've been to. What's your most recent trip, your most favorite trip?
Okay, so my most recent trip was literally like a week ago. I went to Japan first for a week, and then I went to Turkey for another week. And I just got back like 4 days ago.
Nice.
It was pretty fun. Both places had their upsides and downsides, and they both had their fair share of challenges as well. And I'd say that's one of the main reasons why I like traveling a lot, because like you're in a new place all by yourself. Well, you're in a new place all by yourself, and sometimes you don't know what to do, and you just gotta like figure it out by yourself. And yeah.
Yeah. And to clarify to the listeners, M travels mostly alone, right? So
Yeah.
yeah. And so when was your first trip alone, and why did you decide to go solo?
My first trip alone was last year. It was to Cali. And at first, I didn't want to go alone. But then I was actually supposed to go with a friend of mine. But he and I have very different interests. And we realized that, what's it called? It would be one of those situations where we're both together walking around the city. And he'd be like, oh, that place looks cool. I want to go to the museum of whatever. And I'm going to be like, no, I want to go here instead. And we'd be arguing. And instead of actually going to the places, we'd be arguing the whole time. And, like, we knew ourselves enough to be able to figure that out. So we were like, you know what? Let's just go separately. And crazy enough, he had his final on the day we were supposed to leave. So, yeah. I managed to go and he didn't.
Oh, you said that so happily. You know what? Yeah. Maybe the universe was on your side that day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, and I guess for a word of advice for people, maybe a lot of college students want to travel the world. And it seems like you are probably the next Casey Neistat, dare I say. So what word of advice do you have for people who are probably or just interested in solo traveling?
I'd say... I'll give 3 actually, because these 3 are actually really important that I learned from my first trip. The first one would be to like do background research, especially in when you're going like somewhere outside of the U.S. because you don't know what rules they have over there, like unwritten rules. That happened once, and I was given looks, and I was like, "Did I do something wrong?"
What did you do?
Okay, so you're not supposed to do. Okay, how do I say?
We're putting you on the spot.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't have to answer. If you want, totally fine.
Okay. So when I was in Japan, right? Japan is like really big on privacy and stuff like that. I walked into a couple stores, asking them about a couple things with my mask off. At the time, I also didn't realize that masks are like a thing even without the pandemic. So I walked into this store, and the way that some stores work over there is like through a vending machine. Like you put in the money in the vending machine, and the paper comes out with what you order, and you give the paper to some guy or the worker, and the worker like seats you in, like, let's say there's a desk right in front of you. There's like a huge tarp, like right in front of you. Like you can't see what's behind you. You can't see, like, it's literally like a cubicle, kind of, like the place that I was at. If that makes any sense. I don't know, like, if I'm explaining this properly. And I was pretty much like, what is going on? Why am I, like, in here? Stuff like that. And everybody was just, like, staring. Like, you know when you could feel people are staring at you? I felt that to, a very large extent because, you know, I was in a restaurant with a lot of people in it. And, yeah, it was just really, really weird. Until some guy took me to the back and he was like, yo, bro, that's not how things work here. Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Well, shout out to that man who
Yeah.
helped you out.
Luckily, he spoke English.
Okay.
Oh,
so I could understand. So I didn't need to do that awkward thing where I have Google Translate up, and I already have Japanese loaded onto my keyboard. So I type something on my phone. He reads the Google Translation. He reads the Japanese translation. Then I switch to the Japanese keyboard, and he types it over there, and it's just really, really awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's funny though.
Yeah.
Makes for funny stories.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. And are there any other pieces of advice? I know you mentioned one.
Oh yeah. I'm not gonna lie, I forgot the other one. But my third one would be to. This isn't really advice, but is it advice? Kind of. I would say to live in the moment rather than live through your phone. If you record everything, you're not gonna be able to Okay, you're gonna be able to look back on it on your phone, but you're not actually gonna be able to see it. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. Feel the moment. You won't
Exactly.
be able to feel the moment. Yeah.
Interesting.
I remember one of the questions was for my favorite. That would be a tie between the UAE and Switzerland. Switzerland would have been number one by far because it has the natural aspects of it. But I'm Muslim, and there are no halal options over there, which is the things I need to eat.
Mm-hmm.
So I was pretty much stuck eating pizza and salad for a week, and that was terrible. I was sick of it by the time by the time my flight was ready to leave.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
Switzerland, step it up.
Word.
Step it up.
Although I'm not gonna lie, they've stepped up a lot already.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really beautiful over there.
Yeah. Can just imagine.
And as for the UAE is it has all the halal options. It's pretty much like a Muslim country. Yeah.
Okay.
And specifically Dubai. Dubai is just nice.
Heard a lot about Dubai.
Yeah.
Exciting stuff.
Right. And just to kind of leave us off a little bit, what's been one of the highlights or positives about being digital editor at the Vanguard?
I have to say it's the flexibility of it, because I basically have until the day that it's not due per se, but I have a very long time limit to do what I have to do, and the flexibility really, really helps me whenever it's not it's not I have to do it in one sitting at a specific time. I could do it whenever I want, and I could do it in intervals at whatever time I want.
Yeah.
So that kind of freedom really, really helps me being a digital editor.
Yeah, definitely. And what would you say is probably any difficult challenges in your role?
As for difficult challenges, I would definitely say, once again, it's the freedom, because sometimes you tend to forget, and luckily I have alarms set up, so I'll never actually have a situation where I forget. But sometimes I'm oh, if I didn't have that alarm on, I would have missed this. Yeah, I would have missed the whole issue. And yeah, it would not end up well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get a swarm of text messages from us.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so I know that you have a year left at Brooklyn College, so you're now a junior.
Mm-hmm.
But just in general, do you have any thoughts so far of your life after graduation?
As for after graduation, I feel it all depends on right now, because I'm trying to basically, when you're a computer science student, it's highly recommended that you get an internship or two before you graduate. So I'm trying to get some more internships under my belt so I can have a really strong foundation. And with that foundation, I could probably I hope to have a stronger start when actually looking out into the job field or the job market.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what would you say is your dream job in the computer science field?
Okay, at the moment, I'm struggling picking between two fields, between cybersecurity and software engineering. because both of them are like very niche. Like they both have their own they're very different from one another. Like they both have different roles, but I find both of them very interesting. So yeah, those two would probably be one of those two would be my optimal.
Well,
Both very interesting.
both very interesting, and yeah, I have no idea what those entail, but
Neither do I.
sounds interesting.
Yeah. Very nice.
All right. Well, those are all the questions that we had for you, Emmad, and thank you for joining us. And everyone, please be sure to hear the name. Maybe he's going to be a world traveler again like Casey Neistat, or he's going to go into computer science field and make incredible waves. So, pay attention to the name, folks. Yeah, we're getting a little sound effects from Luis. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Emmad. So now we're just going to transition to Allison. She's going to talk about some things ripped from the headlines. So, hello, Allison. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Good.
Good.
Very nice.
Well, we'll begin with some sad news, I guess. Over the weekend, there was a shooting in Monterey, California, leaving 11 people dead and 9 others injured. The shooting took place at the Star Ballroom Dance Studio, where a party was taking place to celebrate the Lunar New Year. 42 shell casings were found at the scene, and investigators found more guns at the suspect's home and in the van where the suspect took his own life. There were hundreds of rounds of unused ammunition. But it doesn't end there. There was another mass shooting in California at Half Moon Bay, which left 7 people dead. And there was a shooting at Oakland, California, which left 7 people injured and 1 person dead. So California has suffered 3 shootings within 3 days. And after that, there was another shooting at a school in Des Moines, Iowa, which left 2 high school students dead. And there was a shooting in Chicago, which left 2 people dead and 3 more critically wounded. I'm pretty sure these are just the ones that made the headlines, but there's probably been many more shootings. Unfortunately, that is what being in America is like, I guess. Moving on, in other news. 4 members of the far-right Oath Keepers militia were found guilty of seditious conspiracy for the role they played on January 6, 2021. There's that. And another news, traffic cameras may be listening to you. During the pandemic and after everything has started to open back up, you may have noticed that traffic is much louder. Well, according to AP News, as a way to try and combat the obnoxiously loud cars, traffic cameras are now equipped with sound meters capable of identifying souped-up cars and motorbikes emitting an illegal amount of street noise. And so far, at least 71 drivers have gotten tickets so far for violating noise rules during a year-long pilot program of the system. Have you guys noticed that the traffic is louder?
I didn't even know that there
No.
were laws on, sound levels.
Yeah, there are. I don't have the specifics right now, which I guess would have been good to have, but there is a certain
Decibel?
Yes, thank you. That is required. So if it goes above that number, then that's considered illegal. And that's why you can also call and report your neighbor sometimes if they're making too much noise. So yeah, they're listening to you.
How does one measure the sound like that just with their ear? That seems far-fetched. I don't know.
I don't know. I've noticed that there's a lot more noise on, in traffic.
Mm-hmm.
The cars. It sounds like, I don't know if I know what a shooting sounds like, but when the cars backfire,
Mm-hmm.
that's what I'm like, oh, okay, what's happening around me? So maybe it'll be effective. Let's see.
So are they targeting those kind of noises, or just loud music being bumped on your car?
No, it's not music. It's specifically the the sounds from the car that are obnoxious. Well, I think it's good. I support it.
Yeah. Hopefully they get I noticed motorcyclists, they will probably try to flex or whatever, the sound of their engine. And sometimes I'm just was that necessary? So I hope that this law specifically gets them. No,
I
I'm kidding.
agree.
Yeah, those cars that sound like lawnmowers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I feel bad for sports car owners.
Well, drive it somewhere else. All right. Last week, New Zealand's Prime Minister, Jacinda Ardern, announced that she would be resigning after more than 5 years, saying that she has nothing left in the tank to give. So, professional burnout. See, everyone, leaders of countries experience it too. Labour Party lawmakers voted unanimously on Sunday for Chris Hipkins to take over as Prime Minister, and he will be sworn in on Wednesday, so tomorrow. And we spoke about this last week, but now there's been an update. Microsoft is investing money in ChatGPT.
Oh, not this again.
Uh-huh. And if you're wondering what the GPT stands for, it's Generative Pre-trained Transformer. I just found that out. Microsoft says it is making a multi-year, multi-billion-dollar investment. Multi-billion-dollar investment. That's a lot. According to AP News, the partnership positions Microsoft to sharpen its competition with Google in commercializing new AI breakthroughs that could transform numerous professions, as well as the internet search business. So now that we know more about it from last week, and we saw a video that Michela generously shared with us of Ryan Reynolds, he wanted to make a commercial for his phone service, Mint, and he basically put in a bunch of the information in the search bar or search engine, whatever it is, and it came up with a very unique commercial. How do we feel? Is it good? Is it bad? Professors, school starts tomorrow. Watch out.
I still think it's bad.
I think it's bad too.
I think I think, for instance, I'm trying to be a journalist in, the field, especially print reporting. So it's intimidating because if there's this thing, ChatGPT, that's making all this, essentially just writing out one's thoughts from just a few buzzwords, it's incredibly intimidating.
Right?
Print journalism dead? Are script writing, is it dead? Who knows?
Yes.
Oh. We have Luis here.
It's all dead. Yeah. Yeah.
Luis, would you like to elaborate? And Luis, by the way, is on our soundboard.
Yeah. Listen, the only way that I would use such a thing. Wait, is it a free thing, Allison? Is this something that's for free, right?
Yes, it's free.
Listen,
I believe.
I'm not.
Well, that would have changed his answer.
Yeah. He wouldn't be using it then.
Yeah, bro, I'm cheap. I'm not. Okay. The only reason why I would use something like that is if I got like a hefty paper to write. Like my sister might be able to use that. She's writing 15 pages, so like, you know what I'm saying, I might tell her to use that. You know what I'm saying? If they're not cracking down on it, look, this is only gonna become more prevalent as like the years go on and as technology will continue to advance. So I guess the professors will have to take the necessary precautions.
But here's the thing. If you have a hefty paper to write, chances are you didn't get it a week before it's due.
Good point.
So you have the time and the brain power.
Right.
But you know how students are. We know. Procrastination is like the biggest key for like everybody.
But even if we procrastinate, we pull through, don't we?
Absolutely.
Right.
But what's to say?
It's not because we want to, it's because we have to.
Okay.
True. And what's like, life is like, as we progress in life, it's going to just get more and more convenient for anybody to do anything that they please. So writing papers is like a hassle for people. So then they're going to make it convenient. That's just the way life is going to go.
I also feel like certain forms of media are dead in a way. Especially like things like movies, things like cartoons, stuff like that. Because they're all like not creating new tropes anymore. They're all like adopting old tropes or remaking them and spinning them in a new way. I actually had a conversation with my friends about this, about how like all these old shows are getting remasters, about how like all movies, like you can boil them down to like one specific or like three specific tropes. Some guy, he has nothing, an accident happens, and now he has something.
Yeah. And ChatGPT can like create probably a script on that just from those tropes.
And not even that, it might even be able to make a new one, a brand new trope.
But isn't it false credit? I mean, songwriters have been using it to create a song, but then they get the credit for that song. I don't think that's fair. The computer got the credit, not you. Take the Grammy away. I don't know.
I don't want to sound like someone from the older generation either, but I think this is making us lazier.
Yes.
No, what's the point of learning how to write then if you don't need it? You just type it. We'll just teach everyone how to type.
Well, watch them make this a subscription and watch how quickly everybody's brain starts to work again on its own.
Guys.
Yeah.
Like, what's the point of a microwave when you could go outside and cook it yourself? Like, there's like
That's completely
so
different.
Yeah.
a microwave has made us all lazy. Like, if we could just we don't gotta heat up our food, we don't gotta make fire, so then we could just put it in the microwave. Boom, it's easy.
No,
Life just gets progressively
microwaves-
convenient.
Microwaves make it easier for you to heat up your food, but it's assuming that you already either made the food or you brought it frozen. So,
Yeah.
okay, and ChatGPT is doing all of the work for you. You don't even have to
Yeah.
write.
And you're putting your name on it.
And your critical thinking,
Guys,
that's
listen,
just concerning.
listen, guys. I thought of the key words. I thought of the key
No,
words.
because
No,
your
you
professor
didn't.
gave it to you in the outline of the essay. You have
No.
to write.
No, that's not-
Right. See, even
They-
that is you're not using originality because you have a prompt in front of you for the essay.
I love playing devil's advocate. So much fun. They gave me the prompt, and it's not my fault they put those words in there. It's not my fault. I didn't put that there.
Well, then, word of advice to professors: maybe let's change the plagiarism section of the syllabus,
Absolutely.
and let's put that in there.
You know what? I'm a fan of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, if they put like ChatGPT, like if they're like, if there is a way to find out the finite, because there's only so much things that they can compute, right? If they could like analyze every single thing and every single page and words, how they are pieced together, and they could like make that plagiarism, that would be fire. Because guess what? Like, that's like an actual skill that you gotta like go in and do.
That's not a skill.
That's a super skill.
That's not a skill.
No. A skill as in like you're making the system to catch that plagiarism. That's the skill. Like,
But-
somebody has to go in now and like compute that and like put it all in a sheet
Or
and
just
like code a
write
lot.
it yourself.
Yeah, if I can butt in, I think that in general, I think we should just remember the purpose of the paper, right? Or the purpose of whatever task you have. It's for you to use your own mind. And I think that if we have this new technology and if we grow dependent on it, our thoughts won't be original anymore. And of course, like, we recycle ideas, right? But at the same time, I feel like we're going to be just further, I guess, I don't know, just further, not to be rude,
You know what's funny is
further dumb.
I'm-
I'm sorry to
Yeah.
say.
I agree.
you know what's funny is I'm never gonna use this thing either. Like, so I have no.
Well, you have to say that now,
No,
don't
Yeah.
you?
like no, like actually, like I really like when like a paper comes up, I just write it myself. There's never like a
Sure.
thought of my. Don't do that. hey, don't do that. Just because I'm not looking at y'all, don't mean I can't scold y'all with the back of my head. All right, listen. Like, I'm never gonna use it ever, so it doesn't matter to me. But to a lot of people, like students in the future, it will.
Alrighty, well.
But also, like, I remember one of my cousins, she got caught like plagiarizing in like the 3rd grade. And like the teacher caught them immediately. And it just reminds me of like little situations like that. Like, if the teacher can't tell, we got to get new software. We got to make anti-ChatGPT software.
That's why they're banning it
We
at
need
school.
to get on it. Not ban
the
it. We need to
Wi-Fi.
combat it. We need to combat it. Just banning's not going to work enough. We
Why
got to
don't-
combat it with
Luis,
software.
We
create the
combat it by
software.
writing it ourselves.
No, here's the thing. If you want ChatGPT to go away, we need the anti-ChatGPT software. The computer sciences
Oh,
people of the
yeah.
world.
That's a new field right
That's
there.
the new field, the
AI.
anti-AI.
Imagine.
What if we use ChatGPT to make an anti-ChatGPT? Because it's using its own algorithm to find a weakness.
Yeah.
That's a movie right there. We
Someone
just
should
created a
test
movie.
it out. All right, we'll move on.
Yes.
What to watch? You can catch the Australian Open on ESPN around 8 at night. I know people here don't like tennis or follow it. I'm still going to promote it. Again, it might start later depending on what games are on, but tonight there's an exciting match between 2 Americans, Ben Shelton and Tommy Paul. Ben Shelton, who is 20 years old, is making headlines as he is playing in his first Grand Slam, and he's made it to the quarterfinals. And before traveling to New Zealand and Australia for the tennis season, he had never traveled outside of the United States. So definitely a name to watch out for. And as a reminder, both the women's and men's final takes place this weekend. So that's pretty much it. But if you want me to add one more, if we have time, as we know, President Biden, they've been finding more documents, classified information in his home or wherever it is that they found it. But there's also breaking news. Documents with classified markings were found at former Vice President Mike Pence's Indiana home last week, according to his attorney. So it just kind of seems to me that whenever a president finds it, it does become a political thing of, how quick they turn it in, what they do with it. But it also seems maybe to stop this problem, we should just not let presidents or vice presidents take home classified information.
Exactly. I mean, if you look at like Brooklyn College's library, and I think that this is a flex, like good for the library. But like, for instance, there's certain books that you can't take out. You could just read it in a certain place. And these are classified documents. I'm just wondering who in their right mind, who's in control of that, where is the login system? Like, okay, this person took it out on this date. Because also from what I've read, Joe Biden, they found classified documents from when he was a senator and when he was vice president. So these are years worth of, hiding these documents or whatever it may be. And I think that having that system is important even for leaders who are in power, because if we, for example, it's just a library here at Brooklyn College. I mean, students, like what, I don't know, like what.
What are we going to do with that? It's not classified. It's
a book. Right? Yeah, it's just a regular book. And the magnitude, the importance, the weight that these classified documents have, I don't understand why there's not a proper system in place. So in my opinion, we can point fingers at these different political figures and the fact that they have all these classified documents. But the fact that there's not a system in place to hold them accountable and to make sure that there's some sort of organization with them is ridiculous.
Well, there are certain things that allow presidents to obtain documents, post sitting for the term. But at this point, I mean, it just feels like the U.S. political system has become a reality show. It's too much now. We just keep pointing fingers at the other side, and let's just cut it out and govern, please.
We have bigger fish to fry.
Yup.
Yeah.
Well, that's it for the rip from the headlines. Thank you, guys.
Thanks,
Thank
Allison.
Hold on, guys. I have a thought about that. I have a thought. Like how you have classified documents and then you got like family members coming over for Thanksgiving, right? Like
that's why they're in the garage.
Like that's crazy, is it not? Like I don't know if I'm in a house with classified documents now. I don't know.
Might be.
I don't know.
Whoa.
That's all I had to say about that.
If you think about it, and like if you had a family, let's imagine everyone a little bit tipsy-dipsy, right? At a family gathering, Biden is like, hold up, guys. You want to read about Area 51? Let's go. Like, come on. Let's go to the garage. Tiptoe to the garage. You're tipsy-dipsy. You read the documents, and you're like, whoa, bro. Imagine. That is like a wealth of information, classified, because BTW, we don't even know. Again, I was wondering, like, what are actually on these documents for them to have them at home? Mm-hmm. And we can't know because they're classified. So if you have immediate access to that, that's kind of fun for parties, in my opinion. But again, bad for the country. Yes. That's about it.
I have to slide the
Had to
disclaimer in
clarify.
there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Allison, for
Thank
the
you.
fruitful discussions.
Mm-hmm.
Well, all right. So, and again, that was Allison Dubrow, ripped from the headlines. And this is marking our end of the episode. And so we want to thank you all for tuning in. Shout out to Michela's mom, who I'm sure is probably listening, because she usually does.
My parents are listening. Hello.
Hello.
Another shout out for you guys.
Shout out. Thank you so much. And yeah, so just a kind reminder, we are coming back to print tomorrow, starting with our first issue of the spring. You can catch our latest issue, which is covering, the cover story is Webb's new mural. So you could check that out tomorrow online at bcvanguard.brooklyn.edu. Our issues are always available there. And if you are interested in writing for us, please do.
Yes, please come, and we will never stop pressing this issue. And this semester, we will be able to hold physical copies of the newspaper again, which is very nice. And for those of you who haven't held a newspaper in a while, your hands get dirty, just a disclaimer. But you can catch our physical issues in the stands of Boylan, Roosevelt, Ingersoll Extension, James, Tao, and Whitehead.
Yep. And shout out to Luis Flecha, who is on our soundboard. You can catch Luis and his peers of the Get Back, which is the sports show here at WBCR, hopefully sometime soon. They're going to be coming back this spring. And again,
It's Thursday.
Thursday.
Thursday, we're coming back.
Whoa.
We're back at
alright.
it. I have some spicy takes
All right. Catch
about
them on
the
the Get
UFC.
Back.
Very, it's like, you know, like the levels of like you got to sign a waiver to listen. That's how spicy it could get.
Or you could just tune in on Thursday.
Yeah. Don't make it
Yeah.
complicated.
What?
Don't.
All right, that joke definitely fell flat. I'm not
It
gonna-
did.
Yeah.
It definitely
It's
did.
okay, though. But you know what can fall flat? It cannot fall flat. Your pitches. Again, kind reminder, we are always looking for pitches. And if you have an issue that is incredibly important to you, to your colleagues, an issue that you want us to cover and to investigate, please let us know. Again, our email is thebcvanguard@gmail.com.
Well, not just issues, but also, you know, the fun things too. We like to hear from students doing cool, unconventional things. And
Yeah, if there's like little quirks that you find around campus, I don't know if this is true. So this might be a long, it might be a myth. But I heard that there's either a rat lab or something on campus.
A rat lab?
Yes. If anyone has any information about that, hit me up because I kind of want to see the little Mickeys. You know,
the little Mickeys.
the little Mickeys, the little Remy's of the world, of the campus. If there's a lab about that, that's kind of cool.
See if they live up to the squirrels on campus.
Yeah. Imagine.
Wait, what's up with the squirrels?
They're crazy.
Really?
They are crazy.
Yeah, one time I was walking by and I heard a really loud noise. It was in the trash can.
Yes.
Nice.
And
Yeah.
last week, we caught one carrying a whole donut.
Jelly, to
Yeah.
be exact.
And
Wow.
naturally, we had to chase after it to get a picture for proof.
Yes.
But yeah. Yeah, no, they're crazy squirrels on campus.
And maybe they're crazy rats. We'll see.
Yeah.
So again, if you have these different stories, let us know. And if you, of course, want to cover or report for us, you can also let us know over email at thebcvanguard@gmail.com.
Yes. And be sure to catch us the show next week as we continue to recap our own issues as well as issues around, the news cycle. And we are excited to share with you more of the stories that we are getting to around campus and around the area.
Yeah. And just a little heads up. So starting next week, there's going to be a new format to our show. Michela will be coming in a little bit late because of classes. Classes are springing up again.
Yep.
So we're going to be interviewing our guests first and then getting into our coverage of the issue after.
All right. Well, thank you all for listening in, and please contact us should you find anything interesting. We will catch you next week.
Yeah. Take care.